Why are there people you can never forget, even though they were never yours? Think about it for a moment. I'm not asking you to answer out loud. Just think about it. There is someone. There is a specific person with a specific name who occupies a space in your mind that no one asked your permission to occupy. They were not your partner, or perhaps they were briefly, or perhaps they never fully became one. But they are there. They appear when you hear a certain song. They appear just before you fall asleep, in that instant when the brain lowers its guard. They appear when you see someone similar on the street and your heart does something strange, something it should not be doing at this point. And what is most unsettling is not that this person is still in your mind. What is most unsettling is that you do not understand why. Because sometimes it was not even a real story. It was something that never truly began, a conversation left unfinished, a possibility that closed before it even opened, and yet it hurts, and yet it weighs on you. Today, I am not going to tell you that time heals everything, because you already know that, and clearly it has not helped you at all. What I am going to tell you is something that probably no one has told you. Something psychology has been studying for decades, and that completely changes the way we understand impossible love. Because it turns out that the person you cannot forget is not there by accident. They are there because they are showing you something about yourself that you have not seen for a long time. Stay. This matters more than you think. Carl Jung was one of the most brilliant and uncomfortable psychologists in history. Uncomfortable because his ideas are not easy to digest. They do not tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to hear, which is very different. And one of his most disturbing, and at the same time most liberating, ideas is the concept of the shadow. The shadow is not something dark in the sense of evil. It is not the worst part of you. It is simply everything you learned to hide. From childhood, from very early childhood, you began to receive messages about who you were supposed to be. That boys do not cry, that asking for help is weakness, that wanting too much scares people away, that showing ambition is arrogant, that needing love is a burden to others. And you, as we all do, started putting those parts into a box. You stored them somewhere inside, where they would not bother anyone, where they would not compromise your image, where they would not make you vulnerable. But those parts do not disappear. They remain there, in the darkness, waiting. And from time to time, in ways you cannot control, they come out. And one of the most powerful, most brutal, and most confusing ways they come out is through another human being. This is what Jung called projection. And here comes the part that may change your perspective forever. When someone produces an inexplicable attraction in you, one of those attractions that makes no sense, that you cannot justify, that even makes the person feeling it uncomfortable, it is very likely that you are not only in love with that person, you are in love with something that person represents, with something that person has or seems to have that you have not allowed yourself to have for years. It may be their freedom. That way they move through the world without apologizing, without asking permission, without shrinking themselves. And you have spent your whole life shrinking yourself. It may be their intensity, the way they love, the way they get angry, the way they feel, without filters, without control, without fear of ridicule. And you have spent years controlling every emotion before it comes out. It may be their vulnerability, their ability to say, "I need you," without their voice trembling. And you cannot remember the last time you asked for something without feeling small because of it. What makes you fall in love with that person is exactly what you are denying yourself. And this is what makes impossible love hurt in such a particular, specific way, so different from other forms of pain. It does not hurt only because you cannot have that person. It hurts because that person reminds you, without meaning to, of what you could be and still are not. Think of it this way. Imagine you have spent years in a room with the windows closed. You have gotten used to the darkness. You barely notice it anymore. And suddenly someone opens a window for 1 second. Light comes in, and in that second, you see everything in the room that you had not been seeing. That second of light does not hurt you because it is light. It hurts because it reveals what you had preferred not to see. That is what that person does to you. They open a window, and you, instead of looking at what is inside the room, keep staring at the window. You keep staring at that person, trying to hold on to them, follow them, recover them, because without them, the room becomes dark again. But the window is not what matters. What matters is what the light revealed. Now I am going to ask you a question that perhaps no one has ever asked you. And I want you to really think about it, not answer automatically. What do you admire about that person you cannot forget? Do not tell me they are beautiful or intelligent. That is superficial. Go deeper. What does that person do that seems almost impossible to you? What do they have that, when you see it in them, makes something inside you tighten? Because what you identify in them, what seems so hard for you to reach, what you see as something foreign, something belonging to another world that is not yours, is yours. It has always been yours. It is just that at some point, you decided you could not allow yourself to have it. This is where psychology becomes a little uncomfortable, because the easy response when someone we care about does not love us back is to stay with the pain of absence. It is easier to suffer over what we do not have than to ask ourselves what that suffering is teaching us. The pain is concrete. The person is concrete. And as long as we focus all our energy on that person, on getting them back, understanding them, obtaining them, we do not have to look at ourselves. And sometimes that is exactly what we are looking for without realizing it. A distraction, a reason not to face the room. But there is something no person can give you, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you desire them. No person can give you back the parts of yourself that you yourself buried. Only you can do that. The real question is not how to make that person love you. The real question is what part of you that person awakened, and how you can begin to live from there. Because some loves do not come to stay. They come to ignite something. They come to show you a version of yourself you were ignoring, a need you were silencing, a life you were postponing. And if you let that pain consume you without extracting anything from it, without asking it anything, without listening to it at all, you will have gone through one of the most transformative experiences a human being can live through, and you will have left empty-handed. Do not let that happen. The next time that person appears in your mind, do not ask yourself why you cannot have them. Ask yourself what they are showing you. Ask yourself what part of you has been asking for a long time to be allowed out, because there, in that question, is what you truly need to find, and that, unlike that person, does depend on you. If you made it to the end, comment, "I made it," and I will personally reply to you myself. And if this resonated with you, subscribe to become part of this, and like it if you enjoyed it.